Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make popcorn chicken. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make this popcorn chicken. And as you can see, there's really not a lot going into this. We have a couple chicken breasts, we have some flour, some cornstarch, a bunch of seasoning, some buttermilk, some Italian breadcrumbs, and then some panko breadcrumbs, which are going to give it that outer crunchiness that we really want it to have. And this is pretty much it. But these things all put together make such a great meal if you're having this for lunch, dinner, or whatever. Or, it's one of those things you can add to it and add all kinds of things and have a really big dinner out of the deal. Or if you were having a party and you wanted something on a platter where people could just pick up a few of these at a time and eat them, it really does work for the fact that it's something to have to snack on, or if you want to turn it into a meal, it's your choice. But the best thing about it is it's not a lot of effort and it has such an amazing taste when it's done. It's just great. So we're going to take our chicken breast and we're going to cut off all the fat that's there. Look underneath, look to the sides of it. You're going to find some fat. There always is. Cut that off because we really don't want that making its way into the mix. We just want to actually cut to where we have chicken pieces, not fat. And then when we get all of this trimmed off, fat's gone, everything's ready to go, we are going to cut these into long strips going across the chicken. And then once it's done, we'll take those strips, flip them to the side, and cut them in half lengthwise, and then go across it. And that's how you're going to end up with those little cubes that you're going to have for your chicken. Now, the thing is, you don't want to cut these too huge, because the bigger they get, the more they're going to start looking like you have chicken nuggets, and that's not what we're going for. We're going for popcorn chicken. So we're basically doing these in small cubes, they're not going to be a perfect cube. They're not going to be shaped perfectly. I'm sorry, we're not worried about that. We're going for taste and quality here and what it tastes like, and these have such a great taste when they're done. So go ahead and cut through this, and like I said, if you have more people eating this than what 2 of these breasts are going to come up with, then go ahead and add more breasts and just add more seasoning, add more flour and everything else to it, because you can multiply this and basically have 4 of these breasts and actually come up with quite a lot of these pieces of popcorn chicken. But the best thing is, this is not really a hard process. So once you get it all cut up, that's really a lot of the process right there. It's just going through cutting and getting them into the right shape. But once you cut these up, you're really smooth sailing from there, because basically we're gonna coat it with some buttermilk, add some seasoning and flour and all this other stuff, and then we're ready to cook these. So go ahead, cut up all of your chicken. And when you're done, you're going to have a platter of quite a lot of chicken, and you're going to think, wow, that's a lot from well, I had 2 breasts here. But when you see mine right here, that's a whole lot of chicken. And once you put that breading on the outside, it's even going to bulk up a little bit more. So it does work really well to, fix this. But you know what? You could actually throw in extra chicken just for the fact that you could refrigerate this and warm it up the next day and have another snack or whatever. So once your chicken's cut up, put it into your bowl. Like my glass container here, I'm adding 1 cup of buttermilk on top. Shake it up a little bit to make sure that buttermilk gets in between the chicken pieces, so that way everything gets coated. And then we're going to move into our next thing. So in a large bowl, we're putting 5 tablespoons of flour and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Then to that, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of chicken seasoning and a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then to this, we're adding a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and a half a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning. And once we get that all in there, we're going to mix it up, because we want to get all these seasonings throughout the flour and everything, just to make sure that they're not all resting in one place. So go ahead and mix them through. And then we're going to, on a platter or a large plate, whatever you have, we're going to put 1/3 of a cup of panko and 1/4 of a cup of Italian breadcrumbs. And you want to mix this up a little bit so that way the panko and the breadcrumbs mix through each other. And go ahead and just stir that up and mix it up. Then we are going to spoon out the chicken, and if you have a slotted spoon, this is best, to get the buttermilk dripped off of it, and then put it into the flour mixture, because we're going to coat these completely with the flour mixture before we do anything else. So go ahead and spoon them over. But like I said, slotted spoon is your friend here. This is going to help so much, because you don't want a whole lot of this buttermilk going. You just want them to be wet. We don't want them to be taking half the buttermilk with them. So go ahead and spoon them over, and then once they're into that container completely, we're going to go ahead and take our spoon or whatever and mix these through to where we're coating them with the flour, the seasoning, and all the other stuff that was in here. So just turn them around a lot of times until they're starting to get coated. Now this is going to be kind of a wet mix here. The outside's going to be kind of gooey, kind of like sticky, kind of, you know, it's got buttermilk on it. But we just want to get it coated because we're going to go from here and we're going to take this over to the panko and breadcrumbs and get them stuck on the outside. But the moisture that's still on here is going to help that stick. And that's the best thing about it, because these things are still kind of moist, but that's what we want. So go ahead and stir these until they're kind of pasty, kind of coated, and then we're going to start moving them over. Now, when you go to roll these in the panko mixture, you could easily put these in something and shake it up or do whatever. I don't do that because I like to roll mine around to make sure that all the sides are pretty decently coated with the breadcrumbs and panko. You can do it however you want, but this is the way I do it. This is the way I like to do it. So just go ahead and work your way through until you do all of them. In the meantime, to the side, you're going to need a pan that you're going to cook these in, warming up to at least 350 degrees with oil in it, which basically you probably need about 1 inch of oil in your pan. And when you're going to put these in, we're going to cook them until they get like a light golden brown, which means you're going to have to turn them along the way. But do not put them in the oil until it reaches at least 350 degrees, or else you're going to get a soggy mess out of the deal. So go ahead and keep rolling these. It's going to take a moment, but once you get these all rolled up and get all of this powder on the outside of it, all the panko, the breadcrumbs, everything, it's great because when you go to eat these later, this is going to help it have kind of a crunchy outside that has such a great taste. And as you see, when I rolled through all of mine, they ended up like this big plate of stuff. So like I said, this is 2 chicken breasts. It comes up with quite a lot. And once you cook them, you know, you got a lot there to eat. So go ahead as you're ready and put them in like 1 or 2 at a time, however you want to do it. We don't want them piled on top of each other, so we're not trying to just grab a whole handful and throw them in, but put them in and then let them start to cook. Now as they start to brown a little bit, you're going to want to like move them around with something like a spoon or whatever, or a spatula or whatever you got handy. I have this metal thing that I use to scoop them out with, which it's all metal. It's the best thing. It's not going to melt or anything, but it helps to move things around. And you want to get these really golden as they're cooking. You don't want to overcook them, make them dark brown. That's going to make them a little but go ahead and get them in there, let them cook, move them around a little bit to make sure the oil is coating the whole piece of chicken. And you can put quite a lot of these in the pan, because I used like a large skillet to do this in, which worked really well with this. And as you can see, I'm mixing mine around, and it's just one of those things where you got to watch it for a few minutes and wait till the whole piece gets golden brown. It's got to be consistent, and then you're going to spoon them out, and you could put this onto a rack to drip, and that way they'll stay crispy. Or if you want to put them on paper towel, you can do that on a plate. But if you put them on a plate on a paper towel, they might get a little soggy underneath. So go ahead and scoop them out, and once you get this completely emptied, if you have more of them, go ahead and put them in and just repeat the process until you've gotten all your chicken cooked. And then once it's all out and on your rack drying, that means like all that oil is going to drip off. It's going to be really great and crunchy, and this is going to have an amazing taste. And the best thing is, like I said, this is as hard as it gets here. This is it. It's done. You have made popcorn chicken, and mine looks something like this. And like I said, I served mine with fries, and it was such a wonderful meal. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.